All right, well, welcome back to WolfePak Wednesdays, our first webcast of 2022. My name is Brent Rhymes. I'm CEO of WolfePak Software. And joining me today is Christy Strickland, head of WolfePak's customer success team. Christy, Happy New Year and welcome back to WolfePak Wednesday.
Thank you, Brent. Happy New Year to you. It's good to be back.
All right. Well, so I think our first WolfePak Wednesday of 2022 is probably actually going to get posted on Friday, thanks to a little unscheduled delay by Mother Nature this week. But we do have an important message to share with the WolfePak community, and that's what's available in our year-end update release. And so, Christy, I'm going to turn the webcast over to you and have you walk us through what all's included in our end of the year release.
All right, thank you so much. Well, like Brent said, we've got some year-end reporting pieces that we really want to get information out to you. Thankfully, we did not have the number of changes on the 1099s as we did last year. Last year was kind of a frenzy all the way around, but we do have some information that we'd like to share with you. There is a year-end reporting document that we will post on the website that will take you through step-by-step every single form within the 1099 module. And I think that'll be very helpful. But for today, there are some things that we want to mention. One change that is really insignificant is that they've changed the name of the 1099 miscellaneous form to from the miscellaneous income form to now it's just a miscellaneous information form. The other thing that you will know is that we are still going to be using the 1099 NEC form, the non-employee commission form, compensation form, and that's still going to be prevalent in this particular year as well. So you're going to have the 1099 miscellaneous form and the 1099 NEC form. The one change that you will see on the 1099 NEC form, however, is it will print 3 copies on one page now. So you're going to have 3 NEC forms on one page. And so that is something new this year that we did not have last year. We have at WolfePak programmed the ability to submit the combined federal state filing for the NEC. And so that's something new this year that we did not have. And so if you are a client that has NEC forms that also has state income tax, we do have the ability to do a combined filing for you for those. So those are the 4 changes that we really wanted to point out. On the next slide, we do have the list of due dates. And so hopefully by now, all of you have filed for your TCC number. That's what you're going to need to file electronically. You cannot file unless you have that TCC number. And I think the due date was opened up in November. And so these deadlines are non-negotiable with the IRS unless you have an extension filed. And so be sure to talk to your tax advisor or your accountant to talk about those. So just remember that if you have not yet gotten a TCC number, you can submit Form 4419. Maybe it'll be good to go ahead and start that for next year if you haven't done that already. Because if you have more than 250 forms to file, the IRS does require you to electronically submit those. If you have less than 249 or less, then you can choose to either submit them electronically or submit them by form. And those, of course, will be printed on those red forms and mailed to the IRS. Just a couple of quick reminders that I wanted to point out because we had a lot of questions about this last year. As a reminder, the 1099 miscellaneous form is where you're going to see information for your royalty interest owners. So Brent, on that next slide, we will have that information. So remember that your royalty interest is going to show up on those 1099 miscellaneous forms. Your working interest or AP vendors any of those other monies that you send out and you need to report, those are going to be on a 1099 NEC form. So I wanted to point that out because we had a lot of confusion about that last year. And so you'll have two sections in the 1099 module, one for the 1099 miscellaneous and one for the 1099 NEC. And so when you do those extracts for AP and revenue, it will go into the appropriate form and you'll be able to see those through payee maintenance. So a lot of times on the sub-account maintenance form, that's the F12 key, you'll be able to look at AP options for that particular vendor or even on your owners and be able to choose what box to submit their revenue in. And even on your vendors, you're able to submit multiple boxes. And so just be aware that that can be changed at the vendor level. But again, we want you to make sure you talk to your CPA office before changing anything on that sub-account setup. On the next slide, I wanted to kind of mention a couple of common errors that we saw last year through the tax season. One is when you're extracting your 1099s, there is options to extract corporations or nonprofits. If that box is not checked on your extract, then those particular 1099s are not going to come in. So just remember that. You also have the option to omit the vendors with amounts less than $10 for box 2 or less than $600 for your working interest owners in boxes 1, 3, 5, 6, and 10, and no withholding. And so if you want to include corporations or exclude some of those others, be sure to mark the boxes before you extract. Now you can re-extract anytime that you need to, but those options are available for you. Also remember that if you've got any sub-accounts that are marked as foreign withholding, they will not get a 1099 miscellaneous, nor will they get a 1099 NEC form. They will show up in the 1042S form that's also located in your 1099 module. Next, a common error that we saw was, what if a vendor didn't get a 1099? How can I go back and look to see if those vendors are set up to get a 1099? There are a couple of things that the first screen that I have a little screenshot here for you. The first screen is on your 1099 AP option for sub-account maintenance. This is your F12 Subaccount Maintenance screen for vendors. If you come in here and you choose not to report a particular vendor, you can do that. Definitely talk with your tax advisor. But you also can code a vendor to multiple 1099 boxes. It may be a rent, it may be a royalty. Maybe you have different invoices that are coming in and you want to specify what box that invoice goes into. There is a box at the bottom on the right-hand corner of that particular window that says Change 1099 Miscellaneous NEC Box for Invoices. If you click on that button, and Brent, yep, thank you, you'll be able to specify by invoice if you want that to report or not. So if you're missing a 1099 for a vendor, what you want to do first is go make sure that that vendor is set to be reported. If they are not, then you can flip it, and then you can also go in and make sure that the invoices that you're expecting to see come into those forms are set to report as well. And so you can review all of that through the 1099 module in payee maintenance. And if those numbers don't look just right, you can certainly go back to sub-account maintenance, make some changes, and then re-extract. Okay. And then the next one that we wanted to bring up is, you know, when you go into those 1099 boxes and you've extracted them, it's very tempting to go in and just make a manual change to the dollar amount in those boxes. But what we would at WolfePak would encourage you to do is make the change in the data itself, because number one, if somebody goes back and re-extracts that data, anything that you've manually changed is going to be overwritten. And so we want to save you from making those changes again. So always go back to your main source of data in the general ledger and make those changes there and extract. So we definitely recommend that you not make manual changes there in payee maintenance. The other thing that I would point out on this screen too is when you are ready to print out your 1099s, or you want to get that extract, that submittal form, the file to transmit over to the fire system for the IRS, there is a way, if you print your 1099s, the print form 1099, either in the miscellaneous or the NEC sections, you can print a preview of all of your 1099s and save those as a PDF. That will come in handy in the long run, because we still have clients today calling us and saying, how can I get copies of my 1099s from 4 years ago? And so we can do that. It'll be a billable event, but just keep that in mind. And it's always just a safe bet to print those out in a preview form and then save them as a PDF. And just the last thing that I would recommend is we do have that document that's going to be available on our website. It's called the 2021 year-end reporting document. It's also available on our customer success fresh desk customer portal, so you'll be able to access it from there. But it has a lot of step-by-step instructions for you on every form that's available in the 1099 module. So lots of good information. There's also some information on how to tie 1099s back to some of the revenue reports, some of the supporting schedules, to just double check those numbers. And so I would recommend that you read through this document and then let us know if you've got any questions. And like I said at the beginning, we do have those videos that were put out there on YouTube at the end of last year that talk about the 1099 NEC, talk about the AP 1099s, and some of those other year-end processes that are going to be important. So feel free to watch those videos as well. And of course, you can always contact your customer success team. We are ready and willing to help you out through this January season.
Well, very good. Well, thank you so much, Christy. Lots of great information. And of course, I know everybody knows this, but you also want to be updating your instance of WolfePak. If you're on WolfePak Anywhere, that's done automatically for you. If you haven't yet migrated to WolfePak Anywhere, you'll need to make sure and do an update to make sure that your system's up to date. And anything else that we can think of for the year-end update?
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be later questions that come up, but for right now, I think those are the top pieces that we at least wanted to get out there for people.
Outstanding. Yeah, and we may have here in the next week or so a live session with Christy and perhaps some of the other support staff for year-end questions. I know that we've gotten a couple of inbound inquiries about doing a live session, so we're looking to put that together as well. But thank you so much, Christy. For now, that's all we have for this edition of WolfePak Wednesdays. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next WolfePak Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you.